Oh, thank you for letting us know we're recording right now.
Oh boy.
All right, we're back. This has been a long off season, but the AGFFA podcast looks like we're ready to go for season 2 or season 2021 for our league. Which year are we in? 16 or 17 now?
We were like 2 when we started.
Oh, wow. We don't count those years.
We restarted in 2006, right? So this would be, is it 15 years?
Maybe it is. Man, is this the 15th year? You know what? I think I have the Constitution open. And I know I have it down here somewhere. The Super Duper Bowls. Oh, here we go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You gave them Roman numerals.
Super Duper Bowl 15 was this past year. So we're entering the 16th year.
Nice.
But we were doing this before then, though, right?
We were, but like because this iteration, this is the official one now. But we're back, and we're a day late from the actual draft day. But the plan here is the three of us will go over the draft. We'll look at maybe the draft grades we saw the other day from you, Jeff, or just do our own like we used to do. We look at best picks, worst picks. Go from there. So I know it's a day late, but any thoughts one day later, how you felt about your draft? Dad, you can start.
About my draft personally, I thought
no, my draft.
I think I'm satisfied with my draft. I perhaps I could have made some different choices along the way. I know I'm weak at tight end, but that's the way it goes. But everything else I'm kind of happy with as much as I can be, I guess. I think that there was. I'm gonna say this, and I'll let you guys go on to what you think about your drafts. But I think I have some players that if things go right, I could end up a very strong season. And if they don't, I could be last place in the division and knocked out by week 5. And I also wanted to say, just to kick this off, is I see that to me, there were no surprises whatsoever in the first round. Nobody did anything stupid that I can tell, that my judgment.
We'll get to that. Yeah. I did a little bit too right before we jumped on, but to close mine out a lot faster, I have a lot of work to do.
So I was too slow.
I have a lot of work to do, but I'm not giving up already. You know, Mike was in a much worse position. I think we saw he had the worst grade according to Football Guys. So if I was in his shoes, I would probably already be thinking about, rebuild year. I don't know if you guys are going to hear that in the background. That's really freaking loud. The cicadas or whatever. Cicadas.
No, I can't hear it. No.
Okay, that's good. But yeah, I'm feeling okay. I know I got a lot of work to do still, but I'll work with it. And I have Mahomes. The way I look at it, he's my best trade bait. He's not a first round pick. So that's a thing we might need to get into is all first round picks from this year, according to our new Kingmaker rules. We can't trade them, right, Jeff?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, okay. So go ahead, Jeff. You can put a cap on the recap.
Sure. Well, thanks, Gus. And hello to both of you yet again. Mm-hmm. If I look at the other teams just briefly, I think that you, Gus, and Gumby did a magnificent job with not a lot of draft capital and building a couple of teams that might be, maybe don't contend for the whole thing, but might. I guess it's possible. I mean, like you said, you have Mahomes. You never know. Chase Edmonds may be his breakout year, and now you got Dobbins and Edmonds as your running backs, and then of course you have 3 good wide receivers to go with it. I mean, Logan Thomas isn't bad, so I mean you could be competitive. Likewise with Gumby, if Mike Davis is everything that he was in Carolina, only playing for the Falcons, he should be all right. I mean, Goddard, again, he could bust out too and be like a top 6 tight end. So, of course, the problem that both of y'all have is depth, and, injuries will affect you guys more than it would affect the average team. But as for my team in particular, we'll probably go into details and talk about why we did some of the things we did, I guess, at some point. But my strategy this year was completely different from any other year. You guys know I normally go running back heavy early and often and just keep going running back. And this year I walked in with, no running backs as keepers. I took a quarterback earlier than I normally would. I kept a tight end, which I normally blow off one or the other, either quarterback or tight end. And I ended up with, I think, really good players at those two positions. But I had so many draft picks early draft picks that I could do that and afford it. So the only downside is that I'm also matched up with Casey, who also got a really good team. So now I'm looking at it going, oh man, this is the year I needed to be in the same division as Mike and Gumby.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Dad was thinking the same thing. Like, he was a first place team, I think, last year. So he's with Mike, Gumby. But yeah, it's a little bit easier this year when,
No, it's Mike Hookham and.
Oh yeah, right. It's not Gumby, but yeah, right. Mike Hookham and Shook. Yeah.
Shook, yeah.
Mike is the easy one, just based on what we've seen and how it turned out. But he went for it last year. He was close. He got third place, which maybe that's a good reward for him.
Lost on a safety at the end of a game.
Man, I got to look at that recap again. That was, y'all were talking about it yesterday. I couldn't remember that, but yeah. All right. So yeah, I don't know if you guys just want to kind of do this the way we used to. We just kind of go down the line, first round, second round, anything that sticks out. We don't have to do best pick, worst pick, anything like that, but just
we can mention that if we want to. If we want to say we think this is the best pick or the worst pick,
sure,
we should do that.
If it really sticks out, I would say, but we don't have to force it. Like what I would say is the first round for sure. I'm looking at, how the snake board is on Clicky Draft. So it's just 12 picks, and obviously Casey picked twice, first and 10th. But from what I saw in that round, there's no best pick because it seems like it's all fine. And as far as worst pick, I don't know. The one that kind of stuck out to me was Nick Chubb, 4th overall by Rick. Maybe a stretch, but it's not bad.
I can't really. I can't really argue too much there. I mean, Aaron Jones might be the guy who I might take there, but I think all four, like even Barkley and Zeke, you could throw all four of them into a bag and just pick one out and you'd be okay. So
Sure.
I don't really have any issues with those. The one that did stand out to me was Calvin Ridley. And I'm not saying it's a bad pick. And when you look at how the Radiators started off with Christian McCaffrey, I can't say I blame him for taking Ridley and saying, look, I got the, potentially or arguably the best running back in football. Now give me a top wide receiver. And I want to start off
high upside.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Julio Jones gone. But and maybe it's the Juju Smith-Schuster thing where everybody thought Juju was going to have a big year once AB left and turned out he didn't. But I think Ridley, no disrespect to my boy Juju, but I think Ridley's probably a better receiver talent-wise anyhow. So, but again, I can't fault him. And, you could have made a lot of worse decisions there. I mean, would you want to take – he got Mike Evans right after that. So, I mean, it's not like, big deal, right?
Yeah.
So that was my thoughts on the first round. Just everything else is pretty much, figured they'd go in some order. These guys were going to be off the board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dad, if you didn't really have anything.
I don't. I think everybody picked the player they probably needed at that position at the draft. I'm a little surprised. Frankly, in my opinion, I'm a little surprised that Saquon Barkley fell to the 6th spot. If it was the 6th, I mean that's where I drafted it. I know Savages and Jess had swapped their first round picks, but
so wait, I have a quick question about that. David Stout was not picking last night for himself. That was Serena, right?
Correct.
But Stout knew Serena was doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, I think maybe. I don't know.
I haven't actually heard from him this morning. I did text him. I was like, hey, man, I hope you've seen your team. Everything looks okay. And yeah.
He can't be that upset with it. It's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, Aaron Jones seems normal. But sorry, Dad. Go ahead. You're talking about Saquon.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that he fell to me. I didn't want to take Ezekiel Elliott. I didn't want him. Saquon Barkley is, I think there's a lot of upside to that pick. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be fine. He'll probably be a top 5 running back.
Well, here's the argument against that, though, is what if the Giants are terrible? What if they're another garbage fire year or whatever? And
they throw them.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like they're not going to have the opportunity to run like you would for a team that's ahead or establishing whatever.
Right.
It's just trying to play catch up. So, yeah, you might still be involved in the passing game, but, if your season's lost, because you're 3-8 by week 11, like, are you going to risk your top running back getting? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the real thought process there, but
Well, if I may just interject something there, so you say what if the Giants are a complete dumpster fire? What does that do to Saquon Barkley, basically, right? We saw that 2 years ago. They were a dumpster fire 2 years ago, and Saquon Barkley was a stud. So I don't know. I think he's immune to whatever else is going on in the offense. If he's healthy.
If he's healthy, he's the best player on your fucking team, and you're going to play him, and you're going to play him a bunch, and hope that he doesn't get hurt again. If they're going to be if they're that bad, if they're going to get in the game, it's going to be behind people like Saquon Barkley. If they're blown out and they're behind 30-0 after the first quarter in every fucking game, okay, they may have to throw them the ball 50 times. If he's their best player and he's damn near he's got to be their best athlete. So,
well, I think we can say first round for the most part. It was fine. It kind of went according to plan, and players fell about where they should have fallen somewhere in the first round or whatever. So second round, I remember looking at this, kind of coming back. I don't remember really anything sticking out on this one too. I know. I heard something in the news this morning about Clyde Edwards-Helaire might have had an ankle injury. I think that actually happened before our draft. So I don't know if it's a big thing or not, but that could end up being a bad, or at least a wasted pick, because if he's out for a couple weeks and I don't know. There's not enough news right now to confirm anything, but other than that, it's another one of those first round. I don't think there's a best or worst pick. I think everyone's all right. To me,
I'm reading about it right now. It says he's getting it checked out. It's not a high ankle sprain, so that should be fine. If it's not a high ankle sprain, he'll be okay. So, it's probably all right. I didn't know that he was hurt either until I think last night or this morning when I looked and just saw NFL news. But, he's probably okay.
Yeah.
Second round. Okay, so I don't know if we want to go best pick in the second round or not. But
if you have one, throw it out there.
I really like Antonio Gibson there at the third, I guess fifth pick in the second round. I mean, I got an issue with Jonathan Taylor. I was listening to a competitor podcast like a week or so ago, and they won't be named, but they were pointing out that I don't remember his name. He's an offensive lineman. Supposedly he's really good. I don't know. But they had some kind of stat where Jonathan Taylor, when he ran to the left side of the line where this offensive lineman plays, he averaged 4.2 yards a carry. When he ran to the middle or to the right, he averaged 3.4, something like that. And they said, now that offensive lineman is hurt and he's out.
Yes.
And so they're like, well, what's that do to Jonathan Taylor? Because was it all him, or was it a byproduct of a really good offensive line playing together? And then also they lost obviously Carson Wentz for at least some period of time. Who knows? So I don't know. To me, I don't know about Jonathan Taylor. I'd have knocked him down a little bit, and I think I probably would have gone Tones Gibson there, man. I really think that dude's pretty good.
You're saying in place of Jonathan Taylor, you think Antonio Gibson should have gone there? Are you basically saying even you should have taken Antonio Gibson because Najee Harris, you picked him before?
No.
Are you regretting that?
No, I'm fine with Najee Harris. I would have taken Najee Harris there all day long. What I'm saying is that and it's a homer pick, but it's also, to me, I think that, if I'm comparing Antonio Gibson and Najee Harris, I'm saying I'm taking Najee Harris the whole time. But as far as Jonathan Taylor, I would have probably gone Tones Gibson over him at that point right there. But that's all.
I think all these guys are fine. I don't know if I would say Gibson over Taylor. You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty high on Taylor this year. I think the guard, I think it's a guard, Quentin
I think so,
Nelson or
yeah.
something.
Right.
I think I saw recently, like earlier today, he's scheduled to come back, I think tomorrow, to do some light warm up or workouts. And we're still what, 2-3 weeks almost to the start of the league.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He might be ready for week 1, and if he is, and Taylor's healthy, and it might be fun.
Yeah, could be totally okay.
I would say
I just-
that on my team anyway, I ended up with Miles Sanders, the second pick, and I thought I better get me 2 running backs early because wide receiver's so deep. And given the choices there, I mean, there were a few that went a little bit later that I probably could have grabbed. Miles Sanders may be a real risky pick for me because, I don't really think he's all that good anyway, but I went with him because he's going to be the main running back in Philadelphia. I think he's going to be their workhorse. So I'm just hoping he gets the volume and he's successful. So
I'm not too worried about Miles Sanders either. I think that, they picked up a couple backup running backs, but I think they really just want him to be the guy. I don't remember. They got the guy from Detroit. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
what's his name?
yeah.
Kerryon Johnson?
Yeah.
Kerryon Johnson, that's
Yeah.
right. Kerryon Johnson, who, I don't think, if I remember correctly, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I think Kerryon Johnson had a couple pretty good games like his rookie year when he had an opportunity, and then he just fell off the map last year, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's a threat to Miles Sanders' production at all. And I'm high on Sanders too. Obviously, I got him in the dynasty league. He's like my second. I got to run him out there. But so I'm not trying to be a homer, but I'm high on him too. Gus, how do you feel about your wait, did you have a pick in this round?
No, so
No,
I
you
had
kept
a pick.
Mahomes.
Yeah, I did not pick until the 3rd round, and I kept Mahomes. So, my whole strategy, I actually tried to find a way to get back in early, but I couldn't find a good trading partner. Yeah. I tried going to the well, my normal people I would reach out to, and everyone was high on their draft and their picks and their plans. So, yeah. All right. Well, how about the 3rd round? So, kind of coming back, I think almost immediately, the one pick I really loved was Justin Jefferson, and that you got like 2nd overall in the 3rd. I was shocked he fell that far. I know that, there's some keepers in the 2nd round and in the 3rd round, but I thought he was a late 1st rounder, early 2nd rounder then in that case. I don't know. I guess I was higher in a lot of receivers, especially him. I put him up there with Ridley, Hopkins this year. So
he was never available to me in any mock draft I did. He never was. So he fell to me, and I was like, "This is a gift. This is yes, I'll take him."
yeah.
So yeah, I was really happy with that too. I was looking in the I was going to take a wide receiver in the 3rd round and basically just fill out those 2 spots. My plan was running back, wide receiver, wide receiver. I already had a tight end, and now I can go into the 4th and just get my quarterback. And that's totally, y'all know, that's totally different from how I normally do this, right? I don't normally take a quarterback at all, but I was planning on filling it out and just getting my entire starters, just get it over with.
Right.
Justin Jefferson was never in my plans ever,
and
I was shocked too. It was. I'm not exactly sure how he fell to me either, because it looked like most of the other picks were good. Maybe David Montgomery, maybe he got picked early and that's how it happened.
Yeah, I understand picking the running backs early, though. You want to make sure you have a guy that is a starter or, has some potential. So, that makes sense. And so these top wide receivers were falling then. So it was Jefferson and I guess Keenan Allen in this round too. I thought was kind of surprising, but that's exactly where he would have been kept with Pete's team if he wanted to do it. So maybe Pete was fine still with that decision. I don't know. Talking about Keenan Allen, sorry, but
well, evidently he likes Terry McLaurin more than he likes Keenan Allen because he could have gotten him back.
That's true. Yeah. But he couldn't have gotten Cooper. Cooper was later in this round too, which it fell to me. I thought that was fun. I was happy to take him.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess this might be the first time I have a bad pick, worst pick. I said Nick Chubb the 1st, but I wasn't really sure it's a bad pick. But Kyler Murray in the 3rd round, first quarterback that was chosen, not just kept, but chosen in our draft. That seemed early. I mean, he did look really good last year at times, just like Dak looked really good early on, and Dak is the next round. But I don't know.
Kyler Murray.
I would have only done that, and Casey had these extra picks, so he could afford to, I think, do this, but it still felt early. I thought he could have waited and taken, in my opinion, a guy that's in that same tier. So,
Was he the last pick of the 3rd round?
Kyler Murray?
Kyler
No,
Murray?
he was right in the middle.
No, he had my pick. And I got,
Chris Godwin at the end.
I got
for Dak.
Balzilla's last pick in the 3rd round.
Okay.
There's some trades last year.
Right.
Let me say, Kyler Murray, from what I saw, I'm not going to say one way or the other whether it's going to happen or not, but what I saw in some of the rankings from the talking heads, and we all love those fuckers, Kyler Murray is like really highly regarded for fantasy football, not necessarily production as an NFL quarterback, but for fantasy because of his legs. He's got all kinds of talent to throw to. So, it's kind of like one of those things. If he produces anywhere near what they anticipate or what he's been, advertised for, he's going to be a good pick. He'll be a top 5 quarterback.
Well, I think there's this is where like being really calibrated to how our scoring system works to adjust for that, because they're right. If it's a standard league or any league where it's 1 point for every 25 yards passing, then absolutely Kyler Murray running the ball is very valuable. In our league, though, those extra 50 yards running is not the same as an extra whatever is 150 yards passing or whatever it normally would be, or 200 yards passing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just 50 more yards. So I get it. I mean, those that in this particular case, I agree with you, Gus. I think that's too early for him because he's not going to be. He'd be like a top 4 or 5 quarterback in any of those other normal leagues. In our league, he's just another dude. He's going to be like the 8th quarterback. Yeah. Which you don't need to take the 8th quarterback in the 3rd round. You can take that 8th or 9th.
But I don't want to beat a dead horse. But if we put all that much value into Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson because of their ability to run the ball, then why aren't we saying the same thing about Kyler Murray?
Because Patrick Mahomes could throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Kyler Murray ain't got to throw for 5 or rush and throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. I think that's the way I'd look at it.
Right, that's Lamar Jackson. Point. That's a
Lamar Jackson point. To me isn't. I mean, no disrespect. I don't think Lamar Jackson's worth keeping either. Josh Allen, still, it's a 3rd round pick for. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
What the hell do I do though? I don't know what I'm doing here half the time.
So. I think Kyler Murray, if you take out Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Herbert, basically the guys that were kept, Kyler Murray was going to be a top 5 quarterback picked in this draft, right? Like for sure. He wasn't going to slip out of those next 5 quarterbacks picked. It was just surprising it happened right here, 3rd round, as quick as it did. That, and I could be eating this later, but yeah, I wish Casey the best. I just this felt like an old Casey move. Like he sees that quarterback that's highly regarded or whatever. And he gets it early, and Peyton Manning in the day that was fine, but
not sure with quarterback is Kirk Cousins. Of course, he got him fairly late, but Kirk Cousins.
I don't mind Cousins.
Yeah, I don't mind Cousins. Again, I think Cousins and Kyler Murray are kind of the same guy, though. Like, you just could just take Cousins. Yeah, I mean, again, I could be totally wrong. Kyler Murray might throw for 45 touchdowns this year. Who knows? But, I mean, I'd rather at that point, right there, I would have, if I really wanted a quarterback, I don't even know if I would have. I still would have said, like, I think in the 4th round, Dak Prescott is a fantastic pick in the 4th round. That dude was on pace to throw for like 6,000 yards or something stupid last year, and then he got you know he
Yeah.
got demolished. What are you gonna do? But
Well,
I mean,
crushed ankle. Whatever.
crushed ankle. Yeah. So, I mean that's a great pick there in the fourth. But I don't know. I see what you're saying.
I'm curious about that pick though too when we get to it. So
Yeah. All right. So, is there a best pick that you have in the fourth round, Gus, or third round? Excuse me.
um, it's tough. It really is tough these early rounds. Like I guess it was Justin Jefferson. That to me is an easy one above the rest.
That's, I think I probably agree with that.
Yeah. So good job, Jeff. That's my seal of approval. Best pick.
Thank you. Stamp that.
Yeah. All right. Well, fourth round, there weren't a lot of picks. And the first one was actually you getting Tom Brady. So, Dad and I did a couple mock drafts. Anyone who did mock drafts might have seen like this might make sense for you. You picked up so many players by this point that if you didn't get a quarterback here, you would be waiting a bit for your next pick. And if you had one of those top 5 QBs in mind, you might have lost all of them. And yeah, so yeah, Tom Brady, that's fine. I get it. Like he's a volume guy. He could easily throw for 4,500 plus, 40 touchdowns. So that's a good year, especially for fantasy in our league.
It's weird to say this, but I think Tom Brady could have upside this year too. I was saying this. I think we were talking about it because it's his second year in the offense. He now has a full off season with real practice time. He's got a ton of weapons around him, and that might have been his floor last year, right? I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Maybe. You know what I really wish would be kind of cool that we could do is if we had every single one of our drafts since 2006 when we had this league and looked at where Tom Brady was in every single draft. Just like this round, this pick, this round, this pick. He dropped all the way to the 8th round another year and then all the way back to the 2nd round another year. Like he's just all over the map, but more often than not, it just works out. He's fine. And if you have him, you can probably play him and you have a top 10 quarterback. So I think this year it's the same thing.
No, you can keep him till he reaches age 50.
Yep.
Yeah, well.
I wasn't trying to make a joke.
Oh.
Okay, so
no,
that's
Jeff.
Yeah. So okay, I want to talk about Dak Prescott now. All right.
Okay.
I'm looking at the snake draft. So Dak was picked 10th pick in the 4th round by Pete or Spider Monkeys. Now, this is what's confusing to me. Pete wanted this quarterback, Dak, right here, right now. He followed it up in the 5th round with the tight end. Now, Pete picking Dak here, and Casey was right after him, who ended up picking Darrell Henderson. But Casey had already picked Kyler Murray at that point. So, and then Casey had 2 picks in a row. So number one, he shouldn't have had to worry about Casey picking a quarterback. And then the person after Casey in the 5th round is Rick, who already kept Lamar Jackson. So here's my confusion here is, sure, it's fine. You can get Dak here. It's fine. He's now keeper eligible too. But what if he had Mark Andrews as a guy that he wanted? Or what if Darrell Henderson was on his board? I doubt Kenny Golladay. That's actually a bad pick to me. But I don't know. To me, it felt like a bad decision to do that quarterback then without looking at who the other teams around you had already picked. So you might have lost another player that you had in mind. Anyway, if he's fine with it, no problem. But that was just a scary strategy, I would think.
You're saying if he had his eye on Mark Andrews as his tight end,
or Darrell Henderson, like what if he wanted a
Pitts.
running back? I don't know. I guess he already had 2 at that point. But what if it's another top receiver that he needed? I don't know.
That's a good point, Gus, and that's a little bit more advanced, like understanding, who's going to be taken before you pick again, kind of thought process. But and you make a good point because he probably, if he didn't do that, I don't think he did because he would have seen, well, wait a second, nobody's going to take a quarterback before I pick again. So you're absolutely right. But maybe he does like Hawkinson more than Andrews, and he was just like, I'm just going to get it over with. I don't know.
But he could have lost Hawkinson there too if he.
Could have.
Yeah, I don't know. Just anyway, it looks like it's working out for him. The picks are fine. His 4th and 5th round. Yeah, that's just one of the things I looked at later. I was like, I don't think he had to pick Dak there. He could have waited one more round.
Yeah, that's true. I think unequivocally, yes.
And as far as the Dak pick, I like it. I mean, he's just one of those guys that, yeah, it's worth taking the risk, especially in this 4th round too.
Yeah.
So you're happy that even given all the analysis that he might have thought about, picking Dak in the 4th was an okay move by you.
Yes, yeah, I understand Dak in the 4th.
Over
I don't
Aaron
understand
Rodgers,
picking that
over
quarterback
Russell
there
Wilson.
when it should be you don't have to worry about a quarterback being picked in the next.
Right.
He could have waited and got somebody else. Maybe Darrell Henderson. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know, but he already had 2 running backs, so I don't know. But maybe he. I'm gonna stop. T.J. Hawkinson, he got it. If that was his guy, that's fine. If it was Andrews, that's where I see where the problem was.
I don't mind the Dak Prescott. I agree with you that he probably could have waited another round, but again, it could have all been a wash because maybe he just wanted a tight end, and Hawkinson and Andrews might be kind of the same guy. Who cares? But nevertheless, yeah, I get your point. He could have waited, but it's all right.
Yeah. Well, if y'all want to go to the 5th, right off the bat, Kenny Golladay, 2nd pick in the 5th round. I wish I could compare it to the Hufel draft. I'm sure I could pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure that guy wasn't drafted until like double-digit round.
Kenny Golladay was the 2nd pick in the 5th round?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, just seems it's weird looking at the board, but okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, sorry. What I'm sharing here is how the breakdown was for each team. But then we have our other screen that shows the snake draft.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that pick at all.
Yeah,
I don't like Kenny Galladay's odds this year of doing anything relevant, period. I mean, especially when you look and see who I picked, like I think any of those guys except Cooper Kupp. Well, no, I'd take Cooper Kupp over Kenny Golladay too. I'd take that back, but I'd rather have Lockett, Thielen, Julio, or Deontay Johnson. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Rick, maybe he remembers Kenny Golladay from a couple years ago. He was Babytron or whatever they were calling him, right? And, but I've just heard some bad news about him in camp so far. I think it's injury concerns right now, but I don't know. It's also just maybe an anemic offense he's kind of running into.
Right. Who's the quarterback?
Yeah.
I think the more important thing is who's the coordinator, and that's Jason Garrett. And I don't know. Nobody likes that guy, right?
Not really.
As far as other picks, I loved how like 3 of the first 4 picks, it was Mark Andrews, T.J. Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts. That seemed to like be in every single draft I saw. Is those guys are right around each other. They're probably you pick one out and just live with it. But I was surprised it actually went like that. So,
anybody else maybe think Kyle Pitts might not be the guy that we all think he's going to be this year?
I'm waffling back and forth. I'm like, yeah, this is a bad move, and then I'm like, well, no, I want that guy. I think he's gonna kick fucking ass this year.
Yeah, I kind of stumbles because I got the other tight end.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, he's projected to be pretty good. So,
Jeff, I thought it was funny. You did back up your Tom Brady pick with Aaron Rodgers right away.
Yeah.
Did you look and see like how they say like, your bye week replacement quarterbacks or whatever? I don't actually know who your starter is because it looks like you're playing best matchup every week with those 2.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm thinking my week 1. I think we've talked about this before. My week 1, my strategy is dance with who brung you, right? So I'm just going to start the top guys I drafted in that order. That's who I'm starting. I'm not playing matchups. I'm just going to start them and see what happens. But that doesn't mean that I won't change, obviously, as the course of the season goes on. But Rodgers could be a guy that that ends up taking over for Brady. But that's going to be a tough one too. Like I don't know. I also look like last year. I really felt for Mike and Gumby, and I'm not saying that my team is as good as their teams were last year because they had amazing powerhouse teams. But I look at it and go, man, that's also a lot of like thought you have to put into like, who am I going to start this week? Like I got 4 guys. I can only start 3 of them. Which dudes do I start? And that might be the situation I'm in at quarterback with Brady and Rodgers, and just trying to figure out who I'm going to start every week and hope I don't leave any points on the bench. But
That doesn't seem like a problem to be worried too much about. You know what I mean?
I mean, you'll kick your own ass though if you start the wrong guy and lose one week, right? You'd be like, oh, why did I do that? Then you'll be thinking about it for like the whole week.
Yeah.
And then next week you gotta set your lineup and go, oh god, which guy am I going to start? It's a good problem to have in a sense, but I don't know. Maybe one of them I trade off at some point if I really need to get a guy that, or I get an injury or whatever, and maybe after one of their bye weeks, I turn around and say, all right, I'm getting rid of the other dude and just gonna get somebody else better. It's possible. But,
yeah, I like the strategy. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to add to it other than these are 2 legendary quarterbacks, and not just in real NFL, but for fantasy, like they're 2 of the best. So you've got that position covered as best as it can get.
Yeah.
So, good job.
And that was, by the way, that was my strategy when I walked in. Was I said I'm taking 2 quarterbacks back to back and and then at any time anybody else takes a quarterback, they might as well pass as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not taking a third one. So I know it's weird. Again, I've never done anything like this before, but just this particular year, I thought I'm getting 2 top quarterbacks and we're going to roll with it the whole way. So was there okay, so Hookham lost a pick because of a trade last year to an owner that left the league, right? So
Right.
that's out.
Yep.
Are we going to talk a little bit about how much Shook loves Russell Wilson? It's like every year he gets Russell Wilson on his team, one way or the other, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Where he got him here, that it lines up with kind of where he probably would have fallen. It was right after some of these other quarterbacks that were picked. So
Yeah.
He didn't reach. That's what I was really happy to see with Shook is Shook didn't have to get him in the 3rd round or whatever. So
Yeah, that's true.
if he even had a 3rd round pick, I'm not even sure, but
I'm pretty sure he did, because Alvin Kamara was the 2nd round, and he kept.
oh, you know what?
Kept
Yeah, I'm
him
seeing
there.
it right here. So he picked Zeke first. He didn't have a 3rd, so he picked him Wilson in the 5th round. Well,
I think
still,
I had his 3rd.
I mean, yeah, if he was looking at which wide receivers were available, which obviously the ones that came after, if he just didn't like any of those, yeah. Congrats on getting Wilson again. It's apparently worked out before. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
but you know what? Hold on, I'm looking at if using that same logic from earlier with Pete's team, the Spider Monkeys, he might have been able to wait on Wilson, because it looks like the only team that didn't. Well, though there were 2 teams that did not have quarterbacks at that point, and that was Whip and Ballzilla. Yeah. So
realistically, both
That's
those
big.
teams were probably not going to reach for quarterback early without building up their core lineups.
yeah, so he
Yeah.
might have been able to wait another round there, right? And gotten a better wide receiver than Odell Beckham.
I think you're right. And in fact, just going to the next round, Beckham, that's pretty early for that guy. It feels like for this year. So yeah, maybe you're right.
But I'll tell you, if he didn't take Russell Wilson there, the 6th round coming back to me, I would have probably grabbed Wilson if he was going to still be there.
But when you mean if he didn't grab Wilson in the 6th?
Right.
Oh.
If he didn't grab Wilson in the 5th,
How would you have got him in the?
because coming back down the 6th.
No, he's still after you in the 6th.
Yeah, he picks right after you in the
You
6th.
pick Myles Gaskin there. Yeah.
Oh, he picked right before me in the 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So he could have waited. Yeah, he could have waited,
Maybe.
because quarterback, and Spider Monkeys did not have a quarterback at that point.
Jeff, I think you're right. That's much longer thinking. When he's in the middle of the draft, it's harder to make those kind of calls of like, ooh, I can wait. But you're right. Like based on all the other quarterbacks that other teams had,
He could have waited.
He would have had to sweat out both Whip and Gumby.
Mm-hmm.
2 picks by each one of them to get Wilson. And he, like you said, I think he probably could have, honestly. But it's all right. I mean, he's still got Russell Wilson, and I think the wide receivers that went directly before Odell Beckham Jr., and I'm including T. Higgins in that. I'd rather have them than OBJ.
Yeah.
Right there.
I think so too. Yeah.
Hell, I'd rather have Chase Claypool. He got picked at the end of the 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, yeah, let's jump to the 6th then. So, yeah, ODB, that's kind of the questionable one that sticks out. And everyone else, yeah, I kind of see exactly where they're at and, yeah, who looks good or whatever. So sorry.
Mike Davis made Gumby's draft, I think. Getting Mike Davis right there.
Yeah.
That was a man, that saved his team, I think, because now he has 2 legit starting running backs and 2
be
legit
right back.
starting wide receivers.
I'll be right back, Jeff. Sorry. Don't
You
worry.
bet. So I think that puts Gumby immediately into the driver's seat and saying, all right, I'm going to be able to win some games this year. His tight end's not great, but you never know. Goddard could blow up all of a sudden, Not real high on Tannehill. I guess we can go over the full list later, but he's got 3 good running backs. He's got 2 wide receivers. That'll hide some weaknesses,
Yeah, I think Davis and James Robinson also is right behind him, I guess, and both can be very good. Robinson, if Etienne or whatever the heck his name is, Travis Etienne, if somehow he takes over the main running back job there, that could be a difficulty for him because then his running backs are Jonathan Taylor and Mike Davis. And I can't tell if there was anything else in here, but I think that were his picks.
Let's see. He's also got Gus Edwards and James White. So a couple spares to go along with it. But
yeah, and Mike Davis is the main running back in Atlanta now.
Yep.
Okay.
He's got basically nobody behind him. I mean, he's got some guys behind him. Maybe one of them turns into like a Myles Gaskin this year or something. But from what I can see, it's like Quadre Allison and oh my gosh, I think Brian Hill might still be running back there, but there are a bunch of dudes you've never heard of and they will never get drafted,
right,
at least until they do something. So Mike Davis is the guy. So I think that made his team a heck of a lot stronger. Yeah. As far as
good observation.
As far as Etienne goes, though, I read this morning that he's listed as the 3rd running back.
Really?
And that
Who's
the top
the second?
2, it's James Robinson, and it's a guy who's a man who plays football. We know his name. I just can't remember what it is. Hold on, I'll search for it real quick.
I doubt that second man was drafted, though.
I doubt it.
Right. I think we'd probably know the name.
Let's see here. Hold on. Carlos Hyde.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
And Travis Etienne's 3rd. And that's not just ESPN's depth chart. That was like I read a camp report where they said that James Robinson's getting the ball. Travis Etienne is coming in for like some passing downs. I think
Jeff, did you watch much college ball though with Clemson?
No.
Etienne was like, he was a Heisman candidate. Dude, just burner, like super fast. He's gonna be a big playmaker.
Right.
So I totally get it. Like, it is weird that he was picked here around before James Robinson, the expected starter, and for what James Robinson did last year. Yeah, it is kind of weird, but I don't know. I'm high on that guy. I don't know. Watching Clemson ball every now and then when I could, it was just exciting. So,
yeah. I predict nothing but failure for Jacksonville, period, because of Urban Meyer. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for college coaches to come to the NFL and make an impact, right?
I
just don't like that guy, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the 7th round, and I think in my opinion.
Are we in the 7th, you said?
Well, yeah, I think we just finished up the 6th, didn't we?
Well,
yeah, I don't
hold
think.
Hold on, what was the worst pick of the 6th? Do we have a worst
ODB.
pick?
ODB.
And okay, cool. My vote for best pick is Mike Davis from the beginning of the round. I think that's a fantastic pick. It's a starting running back in the 6th, man. You can't do much better than that. But
I would throw Myles Gaskin out there after what I heard last night. He got like 2 touchdowns. He was heavily involved in the Dolphins offense in the second preseason game.
yeah.
Yeah, he looks to be the main guy in Miami. Although I think he's got some competition with somebody else down there, but I don't know. Who the
I mean, the way it looks
Malcolm
like,
Brown.
yeah,
yeah.
Miles
Yeah.
Gaskin, that might be the line of that was your last chance at a decent running back, because everyone else, I'm not saying Mostert's bad or Javonte Williams is going to be bad, but it's like, okay, you're taking a shot on the rest of these guys. It looks like James Robinson. I don't know. That's a weird
Well,
one
we're
because he
coming
should be
here.
a starter.
We're coming here, right? So Harris, I wouldn't want. Sherman, I know nothing about. That may be a great.
But that's
pick.
a hopeful, like you were hoping he's going to break out. Connor, the
Connor, I
same
would
thing,
not
but
have
more like,
taken.
I don't even know if that's, yeah. And Robinson's just a big floor guy, I think.
I think you're right, Gus. I think Gaskin is like the last of the, all right, this is a viable starting player for me running backs. The rest, there are a lot of question marks around all the other guys after him.
Right. And real quick, I'm confused about Kareem Hunt still. Like, I know it's because he's sharing time with Chubb, but it's so weird to me that he was this high up. I know he had some good games last year too, so I don't know. I haven't made that click yet to just say, yeah, I'm comfortable drafting him here as a second running back or a flex player, you know?
Yeah, I don't.
But
for sure, if Nick Chubb goes down, he's number one.
sure.
Oh, without
Chubb
a
gets
doubt.
hurt, he's like the main handicap, whatever you call it.
Okay, hold on. Now that I think about it, because that's a good backup for Chubb or, a flex play maybe. But where was Napalm?
4th overall, right?
No, he was near the end of the 6th round. So he would have had to jump in and get him basically in the spot where he got Kyle Pitts. If Napalm, instead of getting Kenny Golladay, picked Kyle Pitts or TJ Hawkinson, and then with his second pick in the 5th round, got Kareem Hunt, that would have made sense to me. Because then you back up your top running back with Kareem Hunt. But then again, if he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire too, so I don't know.
That's a tough one. I guess it's a question. Would you rather have Kyle Pitts and Raheem Mostert or Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and whatever you would get there in the 6th, which what might be at that point, there's like no tight ends, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting point. I don't know Kareem Hunt being picked that early either. That just seems goofy, but
it would have been pretty weird, but yeah. But I would have understood the strategy too if he wants to make sure he has both of those guys. So, all right. Are we in the 7th, you said?
Yeah.
All right, 7th. Who is Damian Harris?
I think he's a starter for New England, right? So
no, I see that he plays for New England. And was he a rookie last year? Is he a rookie this year?
No. Damian Harris has been around for several years.
I don't think that's true.
Look, I think you're right, Dad, but I think you're thinking of Damian Williams for the Chiefs. Okay. Let's see.
Okay, but here's my question. So this guy feels like he came out of nowhere. And who was their starting running backs the last couple of years?
James White,
Well, James White's always been there. There's always been these other running backs for New England.
That's the problem.
That like you were like, okay, yeah, that I think is the guy, or at least one of the 4 guys there.
Right. But who are you going to start?
I don't remember this guy being a part of it. Maybe he was as like the third or fourth guy, and now he's been elevated. But it just seems weird. Like, keep seeing the name pop up, and he's picked early like this. Like, I don't know.
He's been out there he's been there for a few years. But anyway, I was going to say that I think the 7th round had, to me, some errors.
Okay, so bad picks.
Picks that probably could have gone.
Okay, so name your first bad pick.
Just real quick, Damian Harris, this is his 3rd year. His first year, he did nothing with New England, basically. I think he had 4 carries in the regular season. Last year, he got, I don't know, he had like 600 yards rushing.
He had 600 yards rushing last year?
Yeah. I don't know the distribution, if he came on late in the season and got a bunch of yards. I don't know. He just.
So he's
okay.
Been 3 years.
It's his 3rd year, yeah.
I guess it's because that offense, the Patriots used to be so good, but because they weren't last year, nobody knew about it. So or people knew about it. I wasn't keeping up. All right. Well, thanks, Jeff. So Dad, you said there's some bad picks. Name the first one.
Well, Damian Harrison might be one of them, but we're going this way now, right?
Right.
So I don't know who's left unless he was picked before that. James Robinson was a possibility. Even Leonard Fournette, who's going to get some volume. Ronald Jones.
Okay, so you don't like Damian Harris, which I'm kind of in that camp too. I think I don't understand
that pick. I think Jamar Chase is a great pick. He's a rookie, right? He's supposed to be pretty good. Juju's a guy.
Real quick about Jamar, the dude apparently has been dropping a bunch of balls in camp and games.
He's struggling. In Cincinnati right now. And
then I read he actually had a year off from the COVID year, and he took that year off. So he took the year off. He was still a top 5 NFL draft pick this year.
So he's got some catching up to do.
Yeah, literal catching up to do.
Juju's become more of a 3-yard catch and run for 2 yards type of receiver,
Yeah.
So I'm not really all that high on Juju Smith-Schuster, but that could possibly change too. The tight ends picked in here, none of them thrill me. But then again, all the other tight ends were taken, so people are grabbing tight ends now while they can.
Oh, I love how I got Logan Thomas here. I knew I had to get it as soon as possible because then I'd be stuck with the Irv Smith, Tyler Higbee.
Is that what you were hoping to do whenever you won that bet, so you were able to move up?
No, obviously I wanted to just bet to golf that, first, and then
just bet on anything.
Yeah, and then moving up in the 7th, it's like, okay, this is great because if I didn't move up, I think Logan Thomas might have been gone. Like somebody might have taken him before it got to your pick, which was Jalen Hurts there.
Right. Is that your first tight end?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm high on that guy. I'm high on all my players,
Logan Thomas, okay. To me, it's like you have the top tier tight ends, right? And now if Kyle Pitts fits in with that, the rest of them are just, 3 catches for 30 yards and maybe somebody gets a freaking touchdown. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's tight end value as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
William Fuller the 5th, I never was crazy about him in the first place, but he's now with Miami.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy's a good pick. I can't argue with that. I mean, he's supposed to be pretty good too.
Hold on. Jerry Jeudy's a good pick. Let's talk about that.
All right.
Okay. Is he? Well, last year I think it was his rookie year, and it was Sutton that got really injured and was out for the season, but I think Jeudy was just off and on, sometimes injured, sometimes not. But then also just that team sucked, and he didn't break out at all. So I think it's because he's healthy. Cortland Sutton's healthy. Maybe the Javonte Williams that's coming in. They actually have Bridgewater possibly throwing this year instead of Drew Lock as a shitty quarter. I don't know. Maybe there's all that potential there, but what do you think, Jeff?
I think all these wide receivers are poo-poo.
In 7th round?
In the 7th, they're all poo-poo. They're except for Juju, and not because I'm a homer. Juju's a better real-life wide receiver than a fantasy football wide receiver. The rest of these guys, Will Fuller. In the 7th round, if you're picking a guy here in the 7th, I would think you're wanting a guy who could win the league for you if he busts out. Is Will Fuller going to finish in the top 16?
No.
So that's a pass.
I mean, that's
a pass.
He has a better chance of Brandon Cooks doing that, and they got a sucky fucking team in Houston.
Yeah. Or give me DJ Chark.
Or Michael Thomas later too, but he's injured for.
I wouldn't mind Michael Gallup in the next round. Like, we're talking about a Dallas team where you said they had 6,000 yards potentially passing last year. Gallup is a part of that offense.
Yeah. Or even, I know I was making fun of Deebo Samuel. Give me Deebo Samuel here. Give me somebody who could maybe finish in the top 12. Maybe if things just broke right. There's no combination of things that could break right for Will Fuller to be relevant in any way whatsoever.
Sure.
To me, that's a guy you don't even draft. Why bother with it? He's just going to sit on your roster and take up a spot when you probably should just cut him and grab some dude who might the 3rd running back for New England.
So you agree with me that basically the picks in this round kind of suck.
Oh no, I love James Robinson, and I will always love James Robinson.
Yeah,
always.
I think that's pretty good too.
That's late too in the 7th. That was impressive. It was the same thing in the Hufel draft. He was late too, and I was like, wow, I can't believe he slipped that far.
I'm going to mention Jalen Hurts here. First off, I know y'all going to say, well, he sucks. He's not a very good quarterback.
I would never say
point,
that.
My point is, I think that he's got a lot of upside, and that's what I'm looking for. Again, when you're talking about these, these running and throwing quarterbacks, he's one of them. He's one of them. Now, okay, in our league, it's better to have passing an extra 150 yards than 50 yards rushing. And I understand that. 150 yards is, what is that? 15 points.
Yeah.
Versus 5 points. So there's 10-point difference right there. But Jalen Hurts might run and score 7 rushing touchdowns.
I don't hate Hurts there. I don't hate Hurts. That was the 11th quarterback taken.
Right.
So as long as he finishes as quarterback 9 or 8 or 7, then you got a good deal for him. I mean, because you took him later than everybody else taking Stafford and Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or whatever. If he finishes if he finishes as your starting quarterback, basically, it was a good pick.
Yeah.
If he finishes as quarterback 15, well, yeah, it was a bad pick. But 11th, sure. 11th quarterback, yeah, I don't hate it. I think he's got potential. He can finish top 8. He might. He's got a lot of weapons. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So, given the overall quality of the 7th round, which, 7th round should be starters, right? Don't you agree?
Well, there are still starters.
Should be, yeah.
Well, okay. Starters are Damian Harris.
What do you mean starters? Are you talking about starters for the fantasy lineups?
For your fantasy league, they should be a starter.
Okay.
Assuming you don't have any extra picks, yeah, but Casey had a couple extra picks mixed up in there.
Okay,
right?
so like Damian Harris, I don't think so, because I think he had the extra picks. Trey Sermon is definitely not for Jeff. He's more of a lottery ticket. I don't think Jamar Chase is a starter. I think that's a lottery ticket. Same with Juju, but actually I think Juju could go into a flex. I don't know about James Conner, probably not, but maybe a flex. Logan Thomas is my starter right there.
Okay. So you got a starter.
Yeah, I mean, I adhere to your thought process, but
right. And Robert Tonyan,
Same.
That's his only tight end. He's probably a starter too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But William Fuller, the 5th, he may be a starter, but he'll be I have no regard for him one way or the other. Judy's a starter.
No, he's not.
He's not a starter on that Denver team?
He's a starter on the Denver team, but as far as for his fantasy team?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe as a flex, yeah, but
Right.
That seems like you have to wait and see for at least the first week to make sure it was the right play to start him, especially a wide receiver 1 or 2. I mean, Dad, you can look at it here. Dad, on this screen, you can see it. It's, Texas Savages. It was his 3rd receiver at that point. Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, Jeudy. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I was looking at William Fuller, who was his 2nd pick.
Yeah, that's I think we beat that though down.
All right, okay.
Yeah, let's go to 8. So
that was my only point of discussion I wanted to make.
Tannehill. I don't care about Tannehill.
I think there's some upside to Tannehill.
Tucker McCann was the pass pick for Ross there. Actually, I don't hate anything in this pick. Not even Melvin Gordon. I get it. I get you probably need a running back, and he was just one of the top guys around this point.
I don't like Baker Mayfield. Again, not trying to be a homer. He's the same as Gardner Minshew. They're the same player. In NFL and in fantasy, they're the exact same dude. So I don't think he's draftable.
I don't think that's fair, Jeff. I mean, he had like a career year last year, and he's really only, I don't know if he's gotten better every single year, but his rookie year was great. He set a record for, I think, passing touchdowns his rookie year. And yeah, it's the teams should just be improving, right? Like that's the whole progress of your first overall pick quarterbacks.
He's a backup too. It's a backup to Lamar Jackson. Boy, he loves the AFC North quarterbacks, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, interesting.
Right.
Yeah, everything else though, I
agree. That looks like a better round in fantasy than round 7.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this was around the point too when Napalm Jockstrap, he just started like this was his team building it up, the backups, the bench, and yeah, I thought he did pretty well.
So he already had his lineup basically set.
Yeah, actually he did. So he had already 3 running backs by the point. He got Leonard Fournette as his 4th. Tyler Higbee was a backup tight end, and Baker's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
There's nothing, again, I don't see anything wrong with it. That's not wrong.
Yeah. So Jeff, you didn't have anyone. We could go to the 9th.
All right.
Yeah, 9th down the line, pretty straightforward. Definitely a lot of I think high potential picks or lottery ticket picks, if you want to call them that, like Michael Carter, 3rd overall for Pete. I've been hearing a lot about that guy and his being a rookie. If that Jets team actually does turn it around, he could be a big part of that. Devontae Smith, who you got, Dad, 6th pick.
I've heard a lot of good shit about him.
He was awesome last year. I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy for a reason. That dude just the cleanest, crispest routes run. I don't know, like he freaking dominated the championship game. So
Yeah, he did.
like I remember watching the draft live, and there were people that were like, God, I really want to get Devontae Smith now because like he's there. We should just jump in and get him and whatever. And when the Eagles got him, like I was watching a fan base reaction to it, and they were 10th overall, and I don't remember. Did they? I think they traded up to get him. Yeah, I know the Bears traded up to get Justin Fields, which I think his pick is actually coming up pretty soon too. Oh, maybe it's in a later round, but I don't know, Jeff. What do you think? 9th round.
I love Devontae Smith, man. I love that dude. I love the pick there. And I hope he does really well because, man, I don't know. I just thought he was the best wide receiver, obviously with winning the Balishnikov award. Is that right? For best wide receiver. He won the Heisman too, right?
He did. He won the Heisman. Yeah.
And then
it's been a while since wide receivers won a Heisman too.
Yeah. And again, when he in the championship game, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was just incredible. And then of course he went to the combine. They picked him apart because
I know
I'm like, Steve Smith was little. Randy Moss was little. I mean, he was tall, but he was lanky.
Yeah.
So really? So Devontae Smith can't be at least as good as those guys potentially? Come on now. Anyway, so I'm rooting for him. And I think I agree. I think the 9th round was a good round. The only I think my only issues in the 9th round, the biggest issue I have is Kenyon Drake. Once again, all of these other guys, I can see them being useful pieces or potentially like good lottery tickets. Kenyon Drake's not going to do anything. Was that a handcuff or anything?
So no, Kenyon Drake is just kind of a standalone pick for Shook.
He's playing for Las Vegas, so he's the backup to Josh Jacobs now, right? So
yes. But Jeff, here, I'll try and devil's advocate for him then. So apparently the Raiders had paid a pretty nice salary or deal to get Kenyon Drake in here for it's either for at least 1 year or whatever. So, I guess isn't the philosophy of teams, dedicating a decent chunk of change to a player, it's like you're going to be factored in at some point, whether that's goal line carries or, rest for your star running back, which, I mean, was Josh Jacobs really, truly a star running back? He had some good games, but, they wouldn't need something like this if that's the case.
Oh, he is good, man. Yeah, he's good. Josh Jacobs is good.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not the best, but I don't see too much fault in it, from my opinion.
Jacobs had 1,065 yards rushing, 33 catches for 238, 12 touchdowns. That's pretty good, man. And it's also the Raiders. I mean, they're
run heavy.
No,
they're not good player personnel people. All right.
The Raiders this year are I think their projected win-loss total is like 5 or 6, so it's not very good. That means they're thinking a lot of losses, a lot of games. They're probably going to be behind. And this is that thing I was saying earlier about, I forget who, but, you know, they might not be running the ball a lot. And Jacobs or Drake, it might not be the best thing, but if they are in position, maybe, yeah, like a goal line situation. I don't know.
Well, I don't, that's my only issue with, I don't think Kenyon Drake is worth much. The other guys, like, I like Zach Moss. I like Jamal Williams a lot because I think that's really unsettled there. DeAndre Swift and all, you know, great. But I like Jamal Williams, man. I think he was pretty good with Green Bay. So anyway,
that's right. He did come from Green Bay. I was trying to remember where he came from, but yeah.
Yeah. What about 10th round?
10th round. So that's oh my, yeah. So that was in the draft point when I was like, okay, you guys decide AB or Michael Thomas. I knew I was getting one of those two guys. I had to take a chance with one of those two guys. And well, oh, okay, all right. Well, I in the end listened to our champion Gumby. I was like, whatever you say, even if you're trying to fool me, I'm going with it. And he said AB, so I went with AB. I'm happy with it too. Like I really feel like he rejuvenated his career. He got over all that crap in the past, and like all he has to do is just return to being like 8-9 catch guy a game. I'll take that.
Absolutely.
That might turn into my wide receiver 2 or even my 1.
8-9 catches per game or targets per game?
I mean, targets, I would imagine with Tom Brady, he's going to sling it around, what, 40 to 50 times a game, maybe? So can he not get 10 to 15 a game?
Was that Tom Brady
and like AB is still good. Like it's crazy to think he's like he lost a step. He just won a freaking Super Bowl.
And Tom Brady likes the guy.
I know.
He does. I like AB there. Yeah. I like all the picks. Honestly, in the 10th round, I like all of them except for Hayden Hurst. That doesn't make any sense at all. But
yeah. Okay. When Dad comes back, but I mean, I can already tell him. Yeah. So this was around the time when the clock was getting low and we weren't going to pause it on anyone necessarily. And so we were like, Dad, it's 20 seconds, 15 seconds. And he was stressing out and rushing. And I don't know what he was doing in his mind, but when the name came out, it was just like vomit. Just like, he was just looking at a name on a piece of paper and it says like Hunter Hurst or Hayden Hurst.
Oh gosh, that's not a good pick.
I know. So I mean that might be the worst pick in this round. Because the other tight ends that follow they're starters. Dad, sorry, we're talking trash about Hayden Hurst.
Oh, that was my pick.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, we don't like that. I don't like that pick, Dad. That's a bad pick.
Yeah, it's a tight end, and I didn't have one, and I know he was the tight end for Atlanta without giving thought to the fact that they have this new guy, Pitts, and so it was a bad pick. I accept it.
Okay, you own it. It's all right. It's okay.
Before I forget, the whole Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown thing, I do see 3 picks later, Thomas was picked by Ross. So, I mean, like, was he a target for anyone else here? Probably not you, Jeff, because you already had so many picks at that point. But what about you, Dan? You said you wanted Michael Thomas, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, like, it was just 2 picks before you. Yeah.
I would have taken him because so he's out for 6 weeks. I already had wide receivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
He comes in week 7, week 8, and he's healthy, and he's Michael Thomas.
Yeah. He would have been your wide receiver 3 at that point, which is pretty sweet.
At this point in the draft, I knew that I only had 2 more position players that I could get. Because I was going to take a defense and I was going to take a kicker. Again, I'm changing my philosophy around here a little bit. So, and one of those position players was going to be Alexander Madison. So I was not going to take Michael Thomas or Antonio Brown here. It was going to I was going to look at it and just take one of them. And at this point, I was just like, fine, just give me Madison. I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
Which is a good handcuff for your guy,
Yeah, I mean, again, if Dalvin Cook goes down, I'm hedging my bets this time and saying, look, Madison's been good, and Dalvin Cook will probably miss a few games this year. He always does. And when he does, I'll have a guy who's shown that he can play.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Jeff, I had
I'm
him
good with it.
last year when Cook went down, and I almost thought about trading him to Gumby early in the season to let him have his handcuff, and I can get picks or a player with potential. But I ended up holding on to him, and it worked out, which I think helped me get into the playoffs, championship. I can't remember the timing, but yeah, I like it. Great pick, great handcuff. All right, so we ended with Kirk Cousins at the end there, which sure, I don't mind that with Kyler Murray as your second.
That's fine.
11th started with Rob Gronkowski. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a good pick.
Is that his first tight end?
No, he had Mark. I think.
Oh,
Yeah, he had Mark Andrews already. So
okay.
Once again, if I was going to take a tight end here, I want a tight end who might break into the top 6, out of nowhere. So I like Blake Jarwin. I hear a lot of stuff about Jared Cook and the Herbert connection with him, and that he loves throwing to Jared Cook in camp. So, all right, I might even be okay with a 33-year-old Jared Cook there, or Adam Troutman. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with. I think Jonathan Smith was already gone, so I don't know if I really want Hunter Henry too much. Cole Kmet, who was taken in the last round, any of those dudes that you that might just out of nowhere suddenly turn into the next, this year's version of Robert Tonyan or something, not Rob Gronkowski. Nah.
yeah,
But he didn't really need. He's got Mark Andrews, so I can't really fault him too much. I'm just saying, if you already got Andrews, try to get a guy who might be better than Andrews right here, and Gronk is not going to be that
Well,
dude.
the problem is that their bye week's the same. isn't it?
no, it's not. I was just seeing it look close, but it's week 8 and week 9. It looks like.
Got lucky there.
We could have blasted a lot more if it was the same bye weeks.
Deshaun Watson is a pretty awful pick.
I agree. In Hufel, the one where, if you can keep someone for their exact round the next year, I don't mind it. This league doesn't make sense.
David Johnson was probably a wasted pick for me, but
I don't know about that. Is he
I
a
don't
free
know about
agent
that.
or is he with?
He's
Houston?
with Houston. He's still considered the starter there.
right.
That's
And
not bad
the
then.
only reason I wanted to grab him there. Who knows?
It's better than Latavius Murray coming after that. Although, no, Latavius Murray is interesting too, because if Kamara gets hurt, Latavious Murray is going to be a stud. So that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, and that's a
Right.
handcuff for him.
That's a
So
handcuff.
that's not. I mean,
Ah.
we just gave you Madison. We think we have to give it to him for Murray. So,
That's
But
a good pick. Yeah.
So that makes sense.
yeah,
Singletary's not a terrible pick either, I don't think. Singletary's all right.
yeah. I see. I picked Nyheim Hines here, and
Ugh.
I know. I remember thinking that was not my favorite pick, but I'm looking at all the running backs that came after. What was I supposed to do, dude? I don't think I'm going to take any of those guys.
Did you have to take a running back there?
I did. Yeah, because I mean, at that point, he's my third running back.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the other running backs that were drafted. No,
After that is AJ Dillon and
No.
Maybe-
Evans, Philip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, and they're both. Oh, Mark Ingram's with Houston.
So it's
That
Philip
could-
Lindsay.
maybe a lottery ticket on Malcolm Brown, maybe getting the starting job out in Miami. But
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Nyheim Hines, we all know he's a kind of a proven commodity as
He's
far
a
as like some third down.
back.
yeah,
He can
that's
catch
true.
the ball. That's the
That's true.
thing is like if he has, because last year I remember he had a couple games, it was like 20 plus points. And he had a couple
Right.
touchdowns, some catches. So
Right.
like I'll take that if I
All right.
absolutely need it.
You only need him
But
really
yeah,
for 1
right
week,
for
right?
that to happen,
What's that, Jeff?
He's your third running back, right?
Yeah. I
So-
mean he's a backup, but I guess he could get into a flex.
So you'll have to start him twice this year, though, unless you make any moves.
Exactly. And that's the whole, Patrick Mahomes is trade bait thing. So real quick, I got to give props to the league here. First defense picked in the 11th round. Very impressive.
That is.
Very impressive. I mean, I want to look back at our past drafts if possible, but this might be the latest, the first defense off the board. So
And a kicker came before a defense, too. Isn't that weird? Don't they normally go defense and then kickers?
I would think you would go
Oh,
defense
yeah,
before
yeah.
kickers because defense can get you like a 30-point game. I don't think a kicker gets over 20, maybe on rare occasions.
And in what weird universe do we live in where Young Hoku goes first as the kickers? What is that?
Did you?
Rick.
But you didn't have Young Hoku last year. I had him.
No,
There were games. It was like he got me 14, 15 points. It was like this guy is better than my running back too right now.
all right, well then maybe I stand corrected then.
But still, like you can't rely on that like year to year. Maybe with Justin Tucker, but I don't know
Yeah,
about
that's
Young
about
Hoku.
it. But yeah, to your point, Gus, yeah, that's holding your water as far as the league goes, taking a defense in the 11th as opposed to the 7th or
Yeah.
8th or 9th, whenever they normally go.
You know what? And so now that I'm looking at, let's go into the 12th now. The second pick was me picking the Washington defense, and I was behind in picks. I'm surprised I did that. I know I had been drinking, but I don't think I was that drunk. And all the defenses that came after it, I'm surprised. I can't believe I did that. I hope that's not a bad pick. I don't remember why I did that.
They had a good defense last year.
You could have taken the Pittsburgh defense,
I think I saw Washington's considered like the top defense this year.
right? Okay.
So I don't know.
12th round was a lot of defense. I don't really hate anything there, honestly. I mean, this is about the time of the draft where people are just like, you know what, I don't know any of these players, so just give me a defense or a kicker or whatever. So
I'll give
it's not
props to
terrible.
Dad for Corey Davis. I've heard a lot of good news and good things about him so far in the Jets camp.
I'll say this, I've had him for a couple of years and he is nothing special. I'll say
You going back
that.
to that well again then, huh?
Well, I mean, I had to find another player and frankly, I had two players really that when I picked them on the list I had, they were much more value. Where I picked them was extremely high value. Like Miles Gaskin was one of he was really high up on this list before I picked him. I can show you the list I had. And the same thing happened with Corey Davis. He was still on there and bypassed by everybody. So according to the Lindy top 200, that's a great value pick. And so was whatever guy from Miami.
Miles Gaskin. I like the pick. I've heard good things so far. And I don't know, Zach Wilson and him could end up being like a really good combo, pairing. I'm not saying you got Zach Wilson, but like, if Zach Wilson's a real deal for the Jets or at least a decent quarterback.
Right. All I'm saying is that my experience with him was when I needed him, he wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they had AJ Green with Tennessee, right?
AJ Brown.
Tennessee. AJ Brown, yeah. And
holy shit. AJ Green wasn't drafted.
No.
Oh, he wasn't. No.
No.
That's pretty interesting.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna have to get on the free agent wire and pick his ass.
You said AJ Green. I was like, that name, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah. It's interesting he wasn't picked, yeah.
Wow. But he's from Arizona.
Neither was Daniel Jones.
That's surprising.
No, I like Corey Davis as a lottery pick there in the 12th. I don't have any issues with that at all.
Yeah, he might be usable in a game or two, but I can't. It's like you can't predict Naheem Hines is going to blow up in a given game,
right?
And Corey Davis is the same thing, but he may have one game where he gets you 24 points.
Yeah.
But
I saw Tua went in this round, Tua Tagovailoa. Jeff, this kind of goes back to the Kyler Murray argument, I feel like, which is kind of just a guy in our league if you're kind of a running threat. And I think Tua is kind of that guy. Not so much like Kyler is, but yeah, like in the 12th round for your second quarterback, this is where I feel like it totally makes sense. Like you take a lottery ticket quarterback like this. And I don't know if Jess looked at like the matchup for week 11 when Stafford is on bye, but that could be really good.
Yeah. I don't have any issues with that. With Tua in the 12th, no, for that very reason. He could blow up. He might be a top 5 quarterback, and then you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I think I saw he looked really good the other night in preseason. So
yeah, you forget in college that kid was really good. He was a rookie last year coming off like a major hip surgery. So, yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. I think he was going to be a number 1 overall pick if he didn't have that injury. So,
yeah. So,
and I don't think it's affected him. I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit, but he's still a starter right now and got some potential. So, all right, 13th round. Starting with Cole Beasley.
kind of a pass.
Yeah. You got your kicker, Jeff. Darrington Evans, which is the handcuff for Derrick Henry. So we get that. Philip Lindsay. Yeah, sure. I don't know. Mark Ingram followed up. That's kind of
this
funny.
is the run on the little mini run on Houston running backs we saw there.
Yeah.
What scares me is now you see Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram both in Houston. I got David Johnson, which I don't know if David Johnson can handle that competition. He's older than both of them.
Not by much, though.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
David Johnson was a rookie in like 2016.
Really?
I think so.
He was with Arizona for a bunch of years, wasn't he?
Well, he was. It was 2015 or 2016, but he was a rookie then. So
okay, so
if he's a 6th or 7th
year old,
yeah, he might be. Yeah, he's old. He's probably 29 now.
okay.
But you know, he might have a good year left. So anyway, the rest of the draft or the
I got
round
my
13
handcuff for Saquon.
Yeah, Devontae Booker. Yeah, it's not bad.
He's
Yeah,
like,
listen, guys, I gotta go run a real quick errand. I gotta get some cash out of the cash machine real quick. But I just wanted to say I'm glad that we're doing another podcast, and this was fun. And hopefully we'll get to do this throughout the season like we did last year. That was a lot of fun, just recapping what was going on. It was something I enjoyed. And with a couple new owners, I don't know if they're aware of it. I know David is. I think Pete's heard of it, so maybe he'll be able to join us at some point in time. My quick take, just real quick. I don't think that the teams that had very few draft picks and walked away from this draft with bad, terrible, horrible teams, they're just going to lack on depth like any team that doesn't have a lot of draft picks. But I think their starters are going to be okay. And then, my division is going to be a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be because I think all 4 of the teams in my division showed up to play, and that's it's going to be tough. I mean, Pete's always a tough out. Rick had a good draft, and Casey had a lot of capital to work with, and he made the most of it. So it's going to be a tough season altogether, but I'm looking forward to it, man. It should be exciting.
Oh yeah,
and you guys did really well too. I'm not to diminish or disregard anything like that. You guys did really well.
I had a great time at the draft. I'm glad it worked out. Another clicky draft, another online, thing that we did. That was good. Obviously you were here, but yeah, I hope in the future we get back to as close to a live draft as possible, and we'll still have this clicky draft for others.
I agree. I hope on the quality of the teams after the drafts. I think that the grades that we got from whatever it is that you use is one thing. You can put as much faith or as little faith in it as you want. I think last year it gave some grades to teams that ended up not doing all that well, and teams that didn't get rated high did well. So I'm not sure how much faith I put in myself, and I'm saying that because I got a fucking C, and I'd probably have a C team in reality. But you know me, I think it's a great fucking team. I think I did all right with my draft. I may end up going 4-9 or however many games we play this year, but I could also go 9-4 and make the playoffs. So
yeah,
that's true with everybody,
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Well, it was fun. We'll try to plan this every week. Right before the games or something. We do the predictions, recaps when we get to it. So it was fun.
I dig it. Cool. All right, guys. Y'all take care of yourselves. Have a great week.
Yep.
All right, Jeff.
Take it easy, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us fall. You shouldn't have done that, but
I hope that you love it. I really do.
I absolutely love it. I'm just surprised that you offered it and you gave it to me. And
Dad said he's going to throw away his bag that he brought here so he can take the Les Paul home. I'll just wear what he's wearing right now and get on the plane
I'll
with the
keep
guitar.
this shirt, have it cleaned, and wear this, and
You should be able to take it and put it in the overhead. I checked
Yeah.
with the airlines. They will not, they can't say, no, you can't take a musical instrument with you on board. Just
Right,
make
I
sure
already-
you detune it and all. You've done this before, so you're good.
I'll check. Oh, I was thinking, should I loosen the strings on it?
Yeah, just loosen them up a little bit. So
Releasing the
loose.
tension.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
if they do make you check it, make sure you check it at the gate. And you might, just in case they make you do this, you might put some of your clothes into that Les Paul case to support the neck and everything, so that if it gets tossed, it doesn't move. But you should be able to carry it on board. It'll fit in an overhead, and that's the whole
Right.
thing. As long as it'll fit in an overhead, you should be able to carry it on.
That happened with my guitar when I went there. I
Oh,
put it in the overhead and it was fine.
Then you should be fine.
But it
And
wasn't a hard
listen,
case, but
it's a gift, and I just wanted, it's a thank you, because you got me started on playing guitar by giving me a bunch of hand-me-down guitars, and I appreciate that. You and you and Mom put Gus and I through college. It's a thank you for that, and for doing that
Yeah.
for us, and being just a good human being for all of us and everybody in your life. That I just appreciate it, and I hope you love it. I really do. I hope that you enjoy playing the shit out of it.
I hope that one of these upcoming practices we have, or if we play at a party or some shit, I hope we are able to record it and stuff and let you guys hear what we're playing, hear how bad we really sound. But I'll be kicking some ass on a Les Paul.
There you go. There you go. Be sure to wear like a sequin jacket and some
Oh, yeah.
really tight pants. Like
Yeah, I'll do
super
that.
tight pants.
I'll do that. I'll do that. And if my hair isn't long enough by then, I'll wear a wig and ponytail it. I'll put a
There
big
you
ass
go.
ponytail on there. Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll try to have a big ass beard then too.
Do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Put some spinners on the guitar.
All right, guys, y'all take care of yourselves. We'll talk
Have a
again
good
soon.
night.
Okay.
Take
See
it
you
easy.
later. It's nice to see you again, man.
Bye,
You too.
y'all.
Bye, guys.
Are we ending this or do